all, and welcome back to another episode of your beloved bi-monthly blackly owned broadcast, Harlem's very own, featuring as always your three illustrious co-hosts. Speaking first, it's Justin K. Winley, aka Slimbiote Spider-Man, joined by my boys.
Yo, what's up? It's Jude, aka the Wedding Thrasher, aka, listen, your man is older than me and he still calls me big bro, so fuck out of here, one.
Wow.
And two,
wow,
your girl asked me to pretend to be a boyfriend at the bus because this nigga in the corner is creeping her out, so fuck out of here.
And our
I'm
third
serious, that happened.
I'm sure it
sure
did. You have a protective vibe about you. Maybe that's what
you
it
sure
is.
did call him big bro.
And our third mic.
Hello, you guys. It's your boy Ahmad K. Simmons, aka the Telemade Teth Adam.
And today we are joined once again for our feature series by a very lovely guest who will now introduce herself.
Hello, everybody, a.k.a. everyone is talking all that stuff. First of all, my name is Dominique Andriese, a.k.a. the Therapeutic Thespian.
Say that.
Period. That's it.
Alliteration is perfect.
Dominique, we're very happy to have you.
Thank you.
Jude, why don't you give the audience a little information about why Dominique is here and how she got connected to the show?
I don't know this lady.
Oh, you know?
Nah.
Just
Dominique,
a random
Dominique
DM.
is a dear friend, a mentor of mine in the mental health space. If those of you do not know, I have been accepted to Columbia's School of Social Work.
Yeah, buddy.
A middle school dropout, got my GED. Fuck out of here.
Hey,
That's right.
hey,
Sorry, I
hey.
just like saying that. But no, she met me while I was in undergrad with learning Italian with my mother at a bar called Harley's on 116th and First
Back
Avenue.
in the days.
Way back in the days when I met this lady.
Harley's, 116th.
And while simultaneously going to grad school, and if you know anything about grad school, the mental health field, and social work or anything like that, they straight up tell you you cannot have a full-time job. And this wonderful woman had a full-time job and was killing it.
Wow.
Did it anyway.
You know what I'm saying? She was a gangster.
That part.
And now that we've, separated since Harley's, folded and she folded bad. And she's now a successful dance movement art therapist.
Yes.
And living a wonderful life and helping me guide me through this next step in my life. So it's wonderful to have her on the show.
I'm so happy to be here.
Fantastic. I have certainly quite a few questions. I know Jude does. I'm sure Ahmad does. Just to give our audience maybe a bit of a primer, I had heard of art therapy. I think the first time I heard of something like that was in when I was in high school. I went to high school for acting, and
Which high school?
LaGuardia High School.
My mom graduated from LaGuardia, but it was called Music and Art
Back then, before they fused, right? Yeah.
And
You
I
wanna play at
gotta
Harlem?
tell y'all, I am a dance movement psychotherapist. So it's not art therapy. It's
Oh, my fault.
dance movement psychotherapy.
Okay, so we will have to dig into the distinction there later on.
Yeah, we will.
But so I guess then, my only kind of understanding of that world was when we had a drama therapist come in, and she talked about using, acting as a modality for helping people process whatever they're going through therapeutically. But talk to us a bit then about, maybe what that division is between what maybe people understand as art therapy and what you do as a psychotherapist, and how dance is mixed in with that.
I would say that's amazing. Thank you for that question, Jay, because it's like ultimately when you hear we're a part of an umbrella. In New York State, we're called creative arts therapists. So if you are a creative arts therapist, you are either a music, art, and or dance therapist. And then there's caveats, drama, poetry, but as far as licensure comes from, it is those three pillars. And so with dance movement therapy, we incorporate the mind, the cognitive, right? The cognitive space. We incorporate the physical, the spiritual, like totality wellness of a person in order to really break patterns and bring into like more of a holistic space. So we are, if I'm working with you, if we're talking about, yes, I'm working with you, and then you notice certain things that you want to work through, juxtapose if you have speech therapist, a physical therapist, they're working on numbers, repetition. They're working on like, oh, you need to reach up this many times. Oh, you need to work through this speech pattern. But for us with psychotherapy, it is more so geared on fixing the behaviors and patterns of what we do. So if you notice, whenever you're triggered and you're doing a certain behavior, we're going to work towards the trigger, and we're going to work towards that behavior in order to shift and change. And it's not easy. It doesn't happen overnight, but that is where we start from, right? So that is the whole purpose. And I think the difference is my medium through dance movement therapy. A lot of people think you got to bust out a count of 8, right? You got to be Bob Foster. You got to be like,
Give me a pot of
Sada something. No. The thing is that when you were in utero, in your mom's belly, when you came out, you were like, you were coying, you were crying. You didn't say, hey, Mom, I'm fucking hungry. Feed me, right? It was more so a cry or a gesture, a movement. And so I think there's a lot of disparities with dance movement therapy because they think that you have to do these type of dance movements in order to be seen, but it's not. The thing is that it's movement. That is our first language that we experience and what we're trying to connect and, you know, if I'm that baby, I'm hungry, I'm telling my mom I'm hungry.
Yeah.
But she knows, oh, I know she cried this way. I know she moved this way. I know she reached out. Okay, she's moving. That's telling me something.
I appreciate that answer because I think it's there. I'm often thinking about how many things are set in motion from like even before we're born, right? And that's only if you include your own existence, not like whatever came before you, what your parents did, your grandparents did, whatever, like just how many things can be shaped when you're in the womb. I remember I was taking a social psychology class for a semester, and we were at one point discussing the impact of the environment on the fetus and how, like, if the mother is in a stressful environment or is experiencing stress in her own body, how that can affect the child and how the child can come out actually with like a predisposition to stress disorders, because it dates back to these times when we were still like hunter gatherers, and this idea that like, you know, your mom could have been like running away from a saber-toothed cat or whatever, right? And so as the baby inside, you're like, oh, what's going on, you know? But obviously we don't live in that kind of environment anymore, but there are a lot of different stressors that can be also like prolonged and then can set us up, can set us on a certain path. So doing this kind of work where you're going back to a sort of pre-verbal or non-verbal experience, I think is really cool. Do you find that you have well, I guess when you started out, you know, and you wanted to do therapeutic work, did you know that you wanted to take this angle, or were you thinking more traditionally at first?
That's such a great question because it didn't happen like that. You know, I was literally working, I was a Head Start school teacher, and I knew that I wanted to leave and go to grad school. I just didn't know, you know, how that would work out. So I lied. I said, yeah, I got accepted to a program. I didn't get accepted, right? So I ended up working with a client, Monica Levy, and she would do creative movement. And I would go to different schools, right? So I'm doing creative movement. I have like beads and gels and like all different kind of tools. And one particular school that I went to was a school for disabled children in the Bronx. And at that time, I literally, like, in our class, the weighted vest, off. Chewing toys, down. Headphones, gone. Everything. So they were literally moving just without all this weightedness, right? They didn't, without that heaviness. And so we literally were jamming. And they would smile, and every time they would look forward to this group, and I'm like, this is something, I don't know what this is, but it feels very therapeutic, but I don't know. So one day, I went home and like, emailing, looking, researching, And I realized there was a modality. There was a practice that's called dance movement therapy. So one school was in Pratt in Brooklyn. At that time, I lived in Yonkers. And so the next school was literally 8 minutes away, Sarah Lawrence College, right? And so it was literally like God talking to me throughout my struggles. And then I have like a whole other story about how that worked out. But I called them up and I was like, hey, I want to apply. They're like, okay, no problem. You can apply as long as you have your degree. September, you're good. And so I did. And the next couple of, like 2 weeks later, I met with the director. And from there, I told her my story. And I talked about a 6-credit ghost. I'll talk to you all about 6-credit ghosts later, right? And in the end, that same night, I was in Harlem. Big up Harlem. Big up yourself. Hello.
The best place.
HBO. Hello. Harlem's very own.
Talk about it.
So I was literally at the shrine.
Come on, Shrine.
Come on, come
Good
through
place to be.
shrine,
Come on, Shrine.
okay?
Good place to
Had
be.
many
And
good
I
times at the
saw an email from Sarah Lawrence College, and the biggest confettis popped out. And they were like, that same night, I literally got accepted.
Same
And it
night you
changed,
applied?
yes.
Wow.
It changed the whole trajectory of my life,
Of course.
you know, through that discovery of not understanding really what I was doing, but then figuring it out. And then God, I feel like universe was like, bitch, yes, bitch, that's it. You go over there. You need to go over there. You know what I mean? So it couldn't have been more clearer than that, you know?
Yeah, yeah. That's great. I mean, I've never even heard of anything like that, getting a same day. Well, okay. Actually, something similar happened to me. I've never heard of that. It was my...
Meanwhile, right?
For grad school.
Yeah, for grad school was crazy.
It was me for grad school.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what it was
No,
for
it
grad
was
school.
undergrad for me. When I was applying to different schools in the city, I had gone to a school upstate. I came back to the city. I was looking around, couldn't get in anywhere, or just missed deadlines or whatever. The college I went to, the university I went to, Pace, had a program called Transfer Tuesday. You could go in. I might have told this story on the podcast
You have,
before,
I
I'm
think.
sure. But you could go in with all your materials and your report card, your transcript, whatever it was, and be like, "Let me in," and they tell you that same day. So that's how I got into Pace. But yeah, grad school. I mean, with the competition that's involved and everything, that is really remarkable.
Yeah. Thank you.
So from there, you took that route. After having had that singular experience. And how long have you been now working professionally as a psychotherapist?
So I graduated 2017. You do the math. I'm not a mathematician.
Okay, it's been a few years.
I have to throw a little joke in there.
7
But I'm going to
years,
say
7
like
years.
a good 7,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Making
you.
that money.
Ahmad, thank you.
That money, honey.
But they don't tell you that you have to do a lot more into getting to private practice.
Yo, that's a fact.
And that's why I'm trying to work with you so you can prepare yourself.
Go ahead, Jude.
Thanks,
Period.
Mama.
You're welcome. Because you
It's my
think
Yoda over here.
exactly. Because
Look
we
at the green she
think
got on.
I see it.
hello, money all day. No, but what I'm saying is that people don't understand. And that's what I didn't understand when I was in grad school. I was like, boom, I'm done. I'm gonna get my good degree. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna do my own private practice.
Ain't no
No.
word like that.
That's when you.
Then New York
need
State
to
said,
do the work yourself.
Bitch, you gotta get 3,500 hours. Then you need to do this type of internship. Then you need to just pay this money for your case narrative. For New York, for my licensure, I had to write 2 case narratives, and they're completely opposites. And it is $400 a pop.
And what is a case narrative?
And a
about to
case
say for the
narrative
fans.
is
For the
all right.
fans. Me.
'Cause I know.
so. Excuse me. You know I love it. You want to share what your version is?
I think it'll be better if you say it.
So case narratives is given like, all right, I have a client. My client is Jay. He's from New York. He's 12 years old. He comes from this family, and they are in a welfare system. He has a diagnosis of, I am bipolar on the mix of a little bit of autism as well. What is a bipolar autistic diagnoses. Explain that. Then you have to say, all right, how am I doing this with this person? How am I using dance movement psychotherapy in order to connect with this person? What are their physical and like psychosocial factors that are happening with them? Okay, well, he's living in the Bronx. It's a single parent home. You know, it's like you have to break it down.
Narrative.
And then you have to do that for 2 of them. And so you have to pay $800. Okay,
Wait,
800 beans, pesos, dollars, coins, okay, in order to
file
prove
them.
that you don't know what you're doing.
So you have to write this narrative, and you have to pay to write the narrative, or you have to pay to send it in.
You have to pay to sign up in a place that is in New York State. This is like a place
like
where they're
accredited?
saying like, yeah, this is accredited situation. So if you're taking your social worker, so you're gonna probably go to the same location that I went to, but each person has a different test, and it's very archaic. I mean, you hear everyone clickety clacking on the oldest of machines, right?
Yeah.
It's looking very like
backs.
it's looking like very
Modem.
it's like very Argonne Trail energy,
Loud-ass
you know. It's like clackety clack, clickety clack, you know, Argonne Trail energy, and so you're like, I hope I make it through,
Gotcha.
Damn.
you know, and then.
Wow.
But a lot of other, and that is what has to be, a lot of advocacy has to happen for us in the end, where we shouldn't need, because music therapists, here's the shade. Here's the shade.
Clock
Talk
it.
about it. Talk about it.
They just have little multiple choice Jones
Fuck
where they go
them.
pika pika pika. And art therapists, I love y'all, but y'all only have a little tika-tuk, multiple choice, and we, because
For movement.
Sound effects.
our dance movement we right? It's like, oh, we don't verify you, but then we gotta write the whole XYZ shikadam right? That's not fair. But anyway,
Because with dance, you're using your whole body, and also
yes.
you're willing to, you know, you have to write everything out for them. But like when it music or art therapy, they just
you're right.
I don't really know like the actual difference, but I know when it comes to dance, you're doing more of the work
Exactly.
with yourself, but also you have to make sure that person, that I guess you can say client, if that's the appropriate word.
It is.
They're willing to do that work with you as well. So, yeah.
You can
Wow.
see it. You can see why.
Yeah, that's
Jesus.
that makes me think just in general, like, you know, both of us having gone to LaGuardia, I always used to say that, like, I really respected dance majors because I felt like dance is the most vulnerable form of artistic expression. I feel like as an actor, you know, the whole point of it, not that there isn't real emotion behind it, whatever, but the whole point is that you are playing a character, and so there's a separation. There should be. A separation between you and what you're doing.
Right.
Dance is different. There is still storytelling, but it's your body, and it's the only instrument you have, especially without your voice, which I think is also very vulnerable, singing, obviously. So it commands incredible respect from the athletic and physical realm, and then also from the artistic, spiritual, emotional realm.
I have a quick sidebar question for Justin. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And Ahmad too. And you're an actress too as well, right? Because you're the therapeutic thespian.
yeah.
Do the three of y'all ever physically feel a separation between you and the character, or do you still feel like a smidge of yourselves within the character, or do you like just feel, I don't know, like a high? I'm not getting the right word, but
No,
there's
I
some
feel
sort
like
of
that.
like
Like an actor's high? Like
yeah.
a-
As if.
It's a dope question, though. If you think about that.
At times I don't, but when it does happen, it'll hit you. A prime example, when I was working with shout out to Killer and Tyler, it was this short scene from the movie Heat. Came out a while ago with Robert De Niro and
Denzel, right?
Al Pacino.
Al Pacino.
Okay.
And they wanted me to do this certain scene where I am a detective, and I don't know the mind of a detective. I don't know when it comes to this person having years of experience of like anything that they've gone through, the amount of cases that they went through, and the amount of or the certain horror that this person went through on the force. And I myself have to visualize myself in that person's footsteps. I've never seen the movie. I never. All I did was just look at the script. But it's just I have to get out of my out of my body and put myself into somebody else who I don't know about. And even another one with the show Sweeney Todd, where I was playing Sweeney Todd, who is a maniacal fugitive turned who was a famous barber in the city, but he was falsely accused and was sentenced to wait for like 15 to 20 years. And I must come back with this vendetta and kill every single man that has done somebody wrong in order to find that one person that has thrown me away from my family, my life, my career, my own sanity. And in a way, I kind of like that shit.
Well,
it was yummy, right?
That's what it is. It's catharsis, and I think that's what that's what any kind of art therapy also can provide, and that's why art in itself can be therapeutic, even if you're not in art therapy. If that makes sense, right?
Facts,
To answer your question, Jude, and I've talked about this with friends and maybe on the show again. So if you guys are listening, you just like the way I talk, I guess. So you won't mind me repeating myself.
You sound gorgeous.
It's cool.
I like to approach roles from a physical standpoint, partially in terms of looking at the way that we all move differently. We all have our gestures, our tics. Some things are shared between human beings, and some things are a little more unique. Certainly in high school, part of my process when we would do scene work is I love to just feel like I'd do the research about like what is this kind of person like, and then I'd be like, what's like their tic, or whatever. I would give myself and it would usually be like it'd be a big one, and that's because I was a young actor and I wanted to like look like I was really acting. But I think it was a good instinct because what it helped me do was create sort of like I call it like a psychic costume, if you will, that I can step into and out of just by kind of doing this thing, whether or not there's actually like wardrobing going on, but it cues me. It's my own little warm up, and it keeps me locked in into the character or whatever it is. It could be something as simple as how does the character hold their weight. I was doing a show 2 years ago now, an off-Broadway show, and the character I was playing, the director really wanted him to come across as big, boisterous, like big brother energy, whatever. So I decided, all right, he's going to stand very like evenly distributed between his hips, and he's going to like maybe sit his pelvis a little forward, right? Anytime I wasn't standing like that, if I was leaning to one side, if I was slouching, I knew that was me.
Yeah,
So
it wasn't the character.
doing the other thing helped me be like, all right, let me focus. I've certainly felt cathartic or sort of a buzz after playing certain roles. And even, my girlfriend, shout out to you, was saying that like, because I'm not I don't display anger a lot in real life, that playing roles that require that side of me could actually be therapeutic for me. And to be able to let that out, because otherwise where's it going kind of thing.
I'll give him some little praise real quick. That off-Broadway show he was on.
Austin?
He
was killing it.
He smoked that shit.
He was displaying that anger.
He was killing that.
On top of that, too, it also adds into what, she works on, too, when it comes to chakras. When it comes to certain chakras in your body. It's like, yo, this man right here.
He pulled it.
Oh, man.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
Man, I want to see it now. You got to let me know.
I got to redo it. One-man show.
One-man show.
You can do the one-man show. I'll be right there like.
Just do that one scene where you kick that box. You was mad as hell at the box.
Were you in the same year together?
Yes.
2016.
Vocal major, drama major. But he's also an actor, so.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
We have
done?
yet to do like a scene.
Oh, y'all got to do a scene together.
Yeah.
Vocal.
We did get to work together.
Sweeney Todd is very like theatrical.
Yeah,
Yes.
operatic.
Very operatic, right?
And
And also stretched a lot of your vocal and acting at the same time.
Yeah, man.
That's why I like it.
That's
why
it.
I like it.
Yeah, no, these are my guys here. That's a good question, Jude. And I also think
Great
that's why,
question. Thank you.
and we'll obviously get back to Dominique, but I do think that's why when I see, I had this thought about acting classes recently, and I was like, I think any art form that's tied to entertainment automatically has this expectation of like, this higher expectation of success, right? So if you say you're an actor or a singer, people are automatically being like, all right, so where do I see you? Where do I hear you, right? You don't really get that pressure, I think, as like a painter, right? You don't really get that pressure, really even as a dancer. If you say you're a dancer, people are like, all right, well, you float between companies maybe, or you dance, like whatever. But when you say you're an actor, people are like, oh, so...
Where have I seen you
Right,
from?
right.
Where did I see you
I think we have to like make room for, or it's healthy to make room for people who do something just because they like to do it. They do it, like the difference between the hobby and the passion, or the hobby and the profession, or whatever it is. So if you act enough to go to your weekly improv class, or to even if that never goes on stage, and that's just what you like to do because it helps you decompress or whatever it is, that should be every bit. I think we should look at that as every bit as valid as if you're headlining an HBO miniseries, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the same skill, it's just different avenues.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I guess I was saying that in a roundabout way to say maybe you should take an acting class, see what that does for
Always
you.
thought about that. I actually know
I could
that.
see you doing
always
it.
thought
I
about
could
doing
still see
stand-up.
you doing
There was
it.
a fun fact you don't know. I don't think I ever told you this. I went to when I was in like middle school. I went to New York Film Academy for summer camp, and I tried to be like Wes.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, yo.
You
so
could do
like,
it.
You can do that.
I mean, nah, I was being an asshole little kid. But I would say some things that were in those projects were kind of like staples on what I want to do, or things I want to do in therapy. Like I did a little film about drugs, and I'm like 13, and I wanted to like, push on some sort of message about drug addiction because I knew what was like a disease because my pops and my cousin, and shouts out that he's still alive, but I always had like certain things I wanted to get out there, and things I guess I want to fix when I was a little kid, so I think all in different avenues I always wanted to like have the same message.
That makes sense.
To answer the question from my end is I call myself the Therapeutic Thespian is because my first art form was dance and acting. So I was in MC Light's video, Light as a Rock.
Oh, shoot.
When I was literally 6 years old. I'm being interviewed by Ralph McDaniels, and MC Light is there, and I'm just, literally talking about what I want to do, right?
Wait.
And
He was on Video Music Box?
yes, I was on Video Music Box.
Get
Hello,
outta
I'm old school. You saying me? Sure. Cut. No.
That's gangster.
I know that's right.
You don't tell me nothing.
I mean,
you tell me everything now.
that's the surprise. That's the element, right? So I was
It's like a Jack in the Box.
you guys can research it. You'll see. Light as a Rock. You'll see me as a little girl, dancing and moving in that space. And then ultimately, I had written a play at the National Black Theater.
Come on, National Black Theater.
Come on. It's called Waiting in Line, and Waiting in Line was literally a diagonal line of all different persons on this line, diagonal, and in front of it was the door of opportunity. Okay. It literally said a door, and it had opportunity. And I think what happens is that, because the question is like, what kind of like role that moves you, and I feel that we as actors, there's no role that we can't take on, right? But there's something that we are comfortable with. So I've always led into the space of possibilities, or like you finding your truth and looking towards, finding where your pocket is, right? And so that's what that play came out towards. And I was like literally thinking like, oh, that's it. Broadway is coming. It's over, And then in the end, I use the creative. I use it so much. I can be as large as I can or very small. Some of us need large movements. Some of us needs big encouragement. or some of us needs like just to listen, right? And so I realized that I always thought that I was giving up on my dream, but I was just more expanding my dream.
That's cool. I saw you, I think it was a while ago, but, you know, I love supporting the homies, and I saw like a TV thing you did with VR and AR, like augmented reality and virtual reality therapy for older people, for elderly folks. So you do a lot of what you're just saying, kind of like narrating, like Keith David in every movie.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but for these old folks, like, you're on the beach in the Florida Keys or Bermuda, and the sun is hitting you, and that's how you have expanded your practice and your passion as an actor.
Damn, okay, you got props. You got props for it. You made up for it. You saw that, yes. We were...
It's yoga here. I gotta study yoga.
You have to.
Do a little research.
He did a little research. Yeah, we went to... there was a news... I don't remember, was it like CBS or whatever? Anyone, they came to see us, and we had virtual reality glasses, and we were trying to like marry, you know, the future and technology, and as also bringing in our older folks in that population and not letting them be left behind. And so what I would do is I would mimic groups as if we're traveling, right? So I'd get us set up, because that's the theatrics, right? All right, we get your luggage. What you got in your luggage? You got your sunscreen? Okay, good. Right, so we're in and we're there, and there's all of a sudden there's a spritz of water, right? As well as have the VR glasses, right, the goggles. And so they're experiencing into a whole immersive experience. And at that point, it's like, oh, can you smell it? Then we have aromatherapy going on with it, right? So we're bringing in all these like contributions into their space that they will never be able to go to. They're not going to Bermuda. They're not going on the airplane. They're not going to the beach. They're not doing nothing.
Yeah.
So we were bringing that to them.
I hadn't considered how VR could be a tool for therapy. That makes so much sense. I mostly think of it as like a gaming escapism thing, or for like, you know, that kind of, for entertainment.
No, they're tools. Like my mom sent me something about folks who are like paraplegics learning how to walk again using VR. Because I would say...
But your mom was ahead of the game.
My mom was dope as fuck.
She was ahead of the game.
Marisa Cristina Steffers.
Hello.
You know, but so since like if you're looking at your legs and they can't move, you know they can't move. That's already going to defeat you. But if you put on those VR goggles on and you're still standing there,
there you go.
You're standing there on the parallel bars. And you see legs moving, your brain doesn't know that it's not your legs moving. So it's kind of you tricking your brain in a way to get that neurological connection back. Woo! Now it's hard as fuck.
Of course,
it's hard as hell, but it's something you have to work at.
I assume also this like scales based on the level of the injury.
Of course, like you're not going to be out here like, you know, Stephen Hawking.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's
the easy one,
and he was in Epstein's Island, so we can joke about him.
That part, but the visual, it's the visual and it's the neurologic pathways that you're reconnecting. Because you're not looking at your ailment. You're looking at a possibility that maybe this can move. Maybe I can move because of the visual that you're seeing.
Yeah, you see your goal, where you're going, and not where you are.
That's it. That's exactly what you're saying, my man. Hello. Sorry, we're getting too deep.
That's really...
The mental health over here is over. We're having math. That's all.
Either of you guys want to throw one?
Go ahead, Ahmad.
Yeah. Dominique. Hi.
Hey, Ahmad.
I'm loving everything that we're talking about right now, and I remember taking movement classes during my undergrad, and I remember my professor, whenever she would visit New York. Okay, so I went to college in Chicago, and there are times when my professor would come to New York to this place called the Lucid Body House in downtown. Shout out to the Lucid Body House. Great place. And she had my contact. She hit me up. She was like, "Hey, Mom, want to come through to the movement class?" I said, "Sure thing." Now, at the time, I wasn't really comfortable when it came to feeling vulnerable and just I never realized how much tension I held until I took a movement class.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I never realized that I was actually struggling emotionally in order to separate from my past trauma, separate from just my life itself, and just be in it.
Mm-hmm.
Just not worry about anything else. My 2 feet are on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
with everybody else standing next to me, and they just want us all to. They just give us a prompt, a certain task,
Yeah.
and we just go.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first day I did it, of course, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? But then I had to have a talk with everybody. And she was, of course, like the person asked, how do you feel? How did you feel? I won't lie. I said I didn't really feel like myself.
Mm.
I didn't feel like I was holding anything inside. I was having my arms just flail by themselves, or I was walking to a certain part of the room where I didn't know what it was, but then all of a sudden something clicked it in my face, like, oh my God, that's what it was. And I remember seeing somebody in that it was, mind you, it was a class. I just see somebody just fall to their knees and just start crying out of nowhere. No one said anything. All they wanted us to do, it just gave us 5 minutes. And within that 3 minutes, that one was on the floor crying. And they told us, don't worry about her. Do not worry about her. She is handling something that she has been holding back. Or probably there was just something inside that just needed to cry. Once it was done, oh my God, it felt like there was a weight lifted off of me. I didn't know what it was. I was just walking in saying like, oh, okay, I'm just going to take this class. But I guess in a way it needed to happen. So when I realized and like was reading up on what you do, Dominique, I have to say that is incredible. It's incredible that you do that. And you have people who struggle every day trying to figure out what is wrong with me.
Yeah.
What is something that I can't figure out myself. This person that's giving me therapy every week, they're trying to figure out what's going on with me, and I can't be the one to actually put it into words as to what the fuck I feel. But what if I actually use my body to describe it, or to let go, to let go of what's there. I couldn't put it into words, but I know I can move in a way that it can tell a story as to what I've been through and how I can move past that. That is so phenomenal how the human body works.
Yeah.
How the brain works, you know? And was there ever a time that you actually had to do a lesson for yourself and figure out what are some things you were holding back?
My God. I really honestly want to thank you for that commentary and just talking about your experience and your value in the work that's being presented, because there's a lot of misconceptions. We think that we're supposed to know all these things, but we forget that we are the ones that are holding, right, in our body. So just giving you an example, I see you, Jude. You're like,
Or
like
herniated disc in my neck.
I see it. So, all right. So for my thesis, every time I was talking, I'm going to get to Ahmad to your right. For my thesis, every time I was in school, I'm like, yo, we're in school. I feel like we're like learning to be superheroes because I could feel people's pain. I could look at them. I could see where someone is holding. I could see when someone is just like maybe not giving all, and they're holding it back, right? So that I'm like, oh, my superhero trait is like discernment. My superhero trait may be like nonverbal expression, right? And so I actually made my thesis building up to these characters based on our like West Coast, East Coast pillars of these old school dance therapists. So for example, I have Wind Dancer. I want to turn this into a comic eventually, but Wind Dancer, she's proficient in attunement, right? She's also very great at nonverbal communication. And her level of, like, if you put on a scale to 1 in 100, she's 90%, like, she's able to heal. That is her trait.
Gotcha.
Right? So when I'm thinking about what you're talking about, when that young lady that fell to her knees, there is this thing that we do that's called authentic movement. So authentic movement happens around a circle of witnesses. The circle is witnesses. And it's normally 2 people, a dyad, right? And so they're in the middle, and they are just figuring it out. They're just moving, and then there's just something that happens. And for example, if I would like to use you all, for example, right? Imagine we're here. I'd love for you to just loosen up your body a bit. Let's not think about our headphones. Let's not think about the mic, but we're just loosening up. Here, Jay, I see you're a little loose. I know I see my more of a mover. I see my more intuitive, quiet person. Right, we're going to take a deep breath in. Take the deep breath in and exhale, Jude, because you didn't. Exhale. Take another deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. One more time, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Then I'd love for you to hold your shoulders up as you're inhaling and just release. Release your head. If I was around you, I would ask you to release your head. Do you feel how heavy your head is? Release those shoulders. Just, I see you. Release those shoulders. Thank you. Ahmad, release it. You're holding. Thank you. Jude. No. Release your head a little bit more. Your head a little bit. There we go. You're a little bit bigger. It's okay. Right? Thinking about how much we are holding. Every day you see your head is so heavy. You can dig deeper, Jay. You can dig deeper. Think about your spine connecting into your head. Releasing into it. Justin, come a little bit lower. Yes. I like that, Ma. You're in. Breathe. You got to breathe. There you go. Okay. Jude, you're there. You're there. Don't think about anybody else because I feel you're thinking about them else. Right? Release. Okay? And on the count of 3, we're going to just come back into the space and time. All right. And 1, 2, 3. Breathe. So you tell me how that was.
Yeah.
You read my mind. You scare me.
It's been a hot minute since I've been in a class. Just like, I'm not even gonna say it that way. It's just been a minute since I've gone to total relaxation. You know, just loosening everything.
What about when I told you that, you know, what you were doing, you were in it, I noticed you, but you weren't breathing. Did that make any notion to you to say something to you?
Yeah.
Justin, when I asked you to lower your head a little bit more, you could feel that, right? I could tell, Jude, I could tell that you were completely in, but I could feel that your eyes were feeling other persons.
Yeah. Damn.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So to finish, that is my superpower. That is what I own. And to answer your question, when I had to do that myself, I have gone through so much. You know, it has not been easy for me. And I think I've had to always figure out how to deal without knowing that I had that strength within me. So I had to go to school to figure out my superpower. But I've had, you know, we can name all of this stuff, and that stuff has happened. You know what I mean? So I don't practice on myself, but I also think about practicing what I'm preaching. And so that's more so like my daily practice. Yeah.
Dom, you talk about on your one sheet and on your website, you talk about homework, that you give your clients homework.
Yeah.
I've heard of therapists doing that. I know some people like it, some people don't as much. But what does homework look like for you, specifically as a movement psychotherapist?
Oh, damn, that was good. I didn't expect that. I will tell you what I tell that to do. No, what I mean is I think for me is going into my CEUs, you know, making sure that I'm getting all of those, my teachings and earnings, and making sure that I'm ahead of my game, like reading different things, finding up now. Neurodivergent is a big thing that's popular now. When I was in school, that was not even a thing. I know our diagnostic tool is the DSM-5, but I bet you there's going to be a DSM-6.
Almost certainly.
And we have to think about COVID and what that has, you know, resulted in, other diagnoses. Then more in depth of like what autism is looking like now. Neurodivergent was never in there. You know what I mean? So it is like thinking about the point of like how I can heighten what I'm going through. And also my clients give me therapy. And not therapy, they give me homework. They'll say, for example, they need to know a little bit about this. I'm researching and I'm figuring it out, and it is very like a very duality type of experience where it's not just like me being teacher. It's like we're on the same place. Yeah. So that sounds also like how you, if I hear what you're saying correctly, how you do your best to incorporate research and current, like, you know, psychiatric thought into your practice, even if it's a bit outside of the mainstream. And then as far as like in between sessions, you know, will you tell your client something like, all right, before next time, I want you to think of 3 goals that you have for, you know, do you do something like that, or is it? Okay. Yes. Yeah,
Gotcha.
for homework, because it's very customed and catered to the person, right? So if it's a person that is dealing with anxiety, I would say, for example, they are having struggles with being outside. Let's see if we can go in the backyard.
Okay, gotcha.
If you go into the backyard for a couple of, let's say, I always quantify it, because when you have quantity and you can quantify, you can measure.
Yeah.
So that means this goal is measurable. That's a part of a SMART goal. So if I'm with somebody that I know that isn't really a sociable person, well, out of the month, what can we do to bring more social elements into your life? Okay, you can withstand 3 social appointments. If that's going to dinner, it's going out with the friends, or going for a walk, then you're doing that for the month, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just making sure it's very measurable and making sure that it is like realistic.
Yeah, that's smart. I mean, it's the same way that, you know, we should approach physical health as well, right? Like when you're in the gym or whatever, like, you know, you're doing a certain amount of reps and you're doing it, you know, to a certain weight, and you're doing it for a certain amount of weeks, and then we take that data and we look at where we can go from there.
Yeah, and to talk about what Dominique said before, because it stuck with me, and I was talking to someone about this before, of how COVID really changed a good amount of people's psyche. And so I work at Equinox, and one of my members who comes to my class, him and I were just having a little chat before the class starts, and he was just talking about how people were just struggling to get back into the gym, were just struggling to get back to themselves. And I was like, well, COVID plays a part in that. He was like, oh, COVID was for 8 months. I said,
No.
It was for 2 years.
No, baby.
I was like, it was 8 months for you, motherfucker. You was able to get your job back and shit, okay? Motherfuckers are still not okay.
Hello.
Okay. Like it really. I was like,
There's a thing called long COVID.
like I looked at the motherfucker and said,
Is it 8 months?
Also,
Nah.
even if it was only 8 months, like that's such a long
still-
time to not be doing anything, going anywhere, like whatever it is.
Right.
For
It's
the
almost 200 days.
yeah,
Over 200 days.
yeah, for the it's
like
just
it was like, bro, the first 4 months, I was like, oh, I fucking hate this shit. Like, it was just, I didn't know what to do, and then like I was getting back to my feet in like close to halfway through 2021, and then it takes people a while. It took a minute for me to get there, but then also there's still people who are still struggling trying to get back to themselves.
Yeah.
Even though COVID was technically now 4 years ago.
This reminds me of a TikTok I saw where it was a guy like riffing on the idea of kids saying like, "Dad, I'm bored." So he comes up, he's like, "Dad, I'm bored," and then he cuts to him reading a book. He closes it and he goes, March 12th, 2020. Like, and his kid's like, "Oh my god!" You're
That's my
Word.
birthday, bro.
Yeah, bro. Remember we had a
Oh my,
plan.
Jude, that's your birthday?
No, we had a plan to because that was our
This will be our 22nd.
2020 was our 22nd birthday. Yes.
Oh my
That's
God,
how
y'all
it
are
works.
babies.
We were gonna go out, and we were like hitting up friends, and
Yeah,
then like the
they
restaurants got
babies.
closed.
Yeah, 97.
You a baby, Ahmad. Get out of here.
Yeah, man. I
Oh my
remember that.
God.
But it's true. Like that'll definitely be like
Man.
our generation's thing of like you don't even know what boredom is. Bro.
Yeah.
I couldn't go
It's gonna be
outside. There
like-
was no toilet paper.
Yeah, but there's like I walked 32 miles.
Yeah, exactly.
And I had to go
I stayed in my
uphill.
bedroom for 2
Barefoot.
weeks.
Barefoot.
Glass in my feet.
On the glass.
On the glass.
On the glass. Okay.
No, it's just it makes me, it just blows my mind how that actually happened, bro. Like it actually happened, and still people have not been okay.
Yeah,
and so that ties into people that needs to open up about it, which they go on over to this person right over here.
Go see
You know what I'm
Dominique.
saying?
Come on. Hello. Because we got to talk about
like
it.
5 years.
Exactly.
More than 5 years.
More than 5 years.
I've known you longer than
No. I mean, go to this
I was
person in
gonna
5 years.
say.
Me in 5 years. Me in 5 years. I'm gonna be a therapist.
Yeah,
Even though you
that
old.
is going to be you in 5 years. I
So-
can't wait.
One of the things, speaking of COVID, that I think that
Going on 10 now.
not even I think that actually did happen was obviously there was an increase of people using the internet and like using it in some inventive ways to like entertain each other, keep each other informed, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, especially with TikTok, which TikTok to whether or not we're still going to have that app in a year, but we'll see what happens.
Well,
Yeah, they'll sell it to somebody. But I bring this up to say, certainly, I think one of the things that's taken off in the advent of the internet age is the sort of propagation of, well, really knowledge and advice about everything, but it's particularly with mental health advice. Do you feel like, or have you noticed, or do you notice any ill effects of maybe that like generalization of mental health advice as is seen on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, as a professional? Yeah, there are certain things that we understand about anxiety or as a condition or depression as a condition, but there's also specificity to each human being. So yeah, with you, how do you balance that? Do you feel like any of your clients come in with preconceptions about like their own condition versus what the reality of it is?
Yeah, I don't want to.
Self-diagnosing.
Exactly. I can't say my clients because I
Of
love my
course.
clients.
Yes.
They're my people.
Yeah.
In general, I feel that it's so. So when I came up, we had encyclopedias.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm on encyclopedia.
Hello. We did not. If you didn't have the right edition, you wouldn't even know,
Yeah,
right?
right,
What's
yeah,
going
right,
on.
right.
So I think I do experience a lot of information that is being brought into sessions, but it's more so we have to make sure that we take it in with a grain of salt, and that those persons, if they are accredited, if they are board certified, if they are a person that is within the field of diagnoses, then yes, go for it. But if it's not, if it's somebody that is the opposite of that, then I definitely will like you or those persons to bring it to their therapist,
Yeah.
and then they talk it out, because I see a lot of that, you know, and I actually just got accepted into Florida for pre-med because, hello, because I am so upset at the way that my black women and my women of color, my males, my black males, anyone of color that is being represented, and they are not really getting the full history is maybe judged by whatever is themed in the history books, where I think that there needs to be more scientific evidence, even in medicine. You know, if I could even be a part of creating a new kind of medication, I'm for that. I don't know I'm very scared about this challenge, but I know I'm up for it.
Yeah.
And my goal is to really honestly advocate for other avenues of therapies, such as creative arts therapists. If I am able to prescribe, the first thing I prescribe is going to see a creative arts therapist, period. I'm not going to give you medication yet.
Yeah.
I won't do that. And I don't know how that's going to work, but I'm going to work towards that, because that is my goal. And I know that there's a lot of validity in the work that we do.
Yeah.
So that is where I want to move towards as far as medication is concerned. And just like to answer your question about all of these, you know, because TikTok, I love me some TikTok, you know, but I'm not going to TikTok for my mental health.
Right. Yeah, of course. And that
Solution.
Yeah, there is probably research in tonnage yet to be done about like the effects of the internet on, you know, still on the human brain, on the human psyche. I mean, we've started to discuss it, and we understand it. I think colloquially, we all know that, like, man, I've been scrolling on TikTok for an hour. I'm shot. It's 11:30. I should really go to sleep, kind of thing, right?
Or 12.
Yeah,
Or 2.
or later.
Or 4.
But
we all do it.
We
so,
do.
you know?
And they're designed to get that dopamine release and to keep you, you know, looking for the next thing, right? But I think
Just hit the slot machines.
yes, I think there's definitely I can't say definitely. I'm not a professional. I would not be surprised to see if there was a statistic epidemic of self-diagnoses among particularly younger people, like Generation Alpha, because of like
Very prevalent.
because of how easy it is to see something online and
And you
immediately
say, "Oh,
relate
that's
to
me.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, I got that.
That's
I
gotta
got that."
be me.
Yeah.
And not that wasn't happening before, but it's faster now and it's more instantaneous because you can just, you know, you get the confirmation bias of whatever you look up. Oh, if I have, you know, this and this, does this mean I'm this? And you'll find some Reddit article or some Quora response that says, yes, you do. Yes, you are, you know, you have dissociative identity disorder.
That
Nobody
part.
has dissociative identity
You're
disorder. for real.
depressed.
That's like a 1 in 100, you know, to actually have that.
To
right?
have that,
But
yes,
the
yes,
12,
yes.
13-year-olds are like, it's
I
me.
got that.
Yeah.
That's what I am, Mom.
What is McAvoy?
What is-
Split.
So true.
I love that.
And it's so, I mean, I when you mentioned the DSM, like my dad is also in the realm of mental health. He's a counselor. That's what he does now since he's retired.
I could tell. I could tell.
Yeah,
what
eyes,
is-
Dominique? And
I could tell.
And he keeps the DSM around. And, you know, obviously we've seen how things have changed. Certain things have been taken out, certain
The
things have been put in.
progressions, yeah.
So we'll see, you know, by the time Volume 6 comes out, within our
Volume
lifetimes.
6 is going to be very prevalent.
I'm sure.
I bet you're gonna be more focused on that too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna buy you that book.
that book.
He can buy you a soft cover and get you a hardcover.
You better buy
Yep.
two. You better buy two. Give me,
Yeah.
You better buy me
Throw
one
a pack
too.
of
Oh,
highlighters.
I got.
Buy me
Okay,
one.
I got two. I'm gonna get two
All
for
right,
you.
get us two. Imagine getting hit by the DSM-6.
Right.
Oh my god.
What is
We gotta go to
what
the
is
DSM-5
what is
to figure out what happened to my
your
head.
what is your opinion when it comes to like people that come to you and say, "Hey, I did a self-diagnosis of myself," and you go, "Why did you do that?"
Oh my gosh. I so tried to be very graceful. And I want to know, I asked them, what is the criteria? Right? Because that is what a professional will ask. Right? And it is just like, I don't want to discredit, but I want them to understand is that there takes a lot of schooling into that. So let's talk about their feelings as opposed to what they heard or they saw. Why are you feeling in your body? If you talk about that, where does it show up in your body? So if I know they're like, oh, I'm feeling like anxious. So where does your anxiety lie? Oh, it's over here. All right, but the DSM-5 doesn't say that, right? So like, all right, let's go back. So what you're feeling something else? Okay, what is what you're feeling and where is it lying in your body? And they're telling me, oh, well, actually, I'm jittery. I'm like, okay, so you need probably more nutrients in your body or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
You don't
Like,
need to see me. You need to see a nutritionist.
Yeah, nutritionist.
When was your last physical?
and this is a very like extreme example,
Yeah,
right?
of
It's
course.
not my action. I gotta put out there.
Yeah. Disclaimer.
It's not my people. Y'all know it's not my people. So, but it ultimately is more so. It's like if they are saying that, then I will tell them I am a mental health professional. I cannot diagnose, but if you want to meet up with your doctor, I encourage that. Period.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
And ultimately, like that's what we should strive for anyway. You know, is like more of that communication between the different health professionals, right?
Oh,
Whether
yeah.
you're in the physical health or the mental health, like there should be more of that because there's too many people like contradicting each other, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think especially as you get older, right? Whether you're taking care of your parents, your grandparents, and like they've got 5 different doctors giving them 7 different pills and don't take this one together with that one, and they don't know. They just listen and take whatever because you
Fucking your
must
body
be-
up.
Yeah,
You're fucking your body up.
I mean, for real. For
Basically.
real. And this is stuff that starts, like, obviously when we're
be
young
honest.
and can build.
That's it.
Jude, do you have any more?
Yeah, I do. I just don't know which one
Lord.
to ask.
But dude, before you even say anything
Talk
else,
about
like
it.
that's just
What's
something
still?
that grinds my gears though. It's like they will give you so much medication and be
Yeah.
like, you have to take this a day, like take this and then take this and then take this. And like granted, I know someone right now who is going through a lot right now with this anxiety, and he's very, very new to it. Like very new to it. He's in his 60s, but you know he's just like he doesn't know how to cope with this. So it's like, oh, you got to take this medication here for the coping, but it's like he hasn't.
Those is Band-Aids, my nigga.
Yeah, but it's like, so for him, he's gone through so much in his life to where he wasn't even able to make peace with himself, and so something. Let's just say that something happened which triggered all of those emotions from his past and just creep up on him and just
At
hit
one
him
time.
right there at one time,
Jeez,
and it fucked him up. And it's just like, oh my god, I feel bad for him because it's like I've never seen him that way before, and so. You know, shit, I'm going to give him your contact.
You
because,
better give it to him, cousin. We can talk.
It's just, like, meds aren't. It's not gonna be your cure for.
Yeah.
There's no cure. It's
know?
it's a holistic overall thing. You know, like my whole little theory about medications is if it's absolutely freaking necessary, take them, do them, all good.
Right.
But I just look at everything like Jeet Kune Do. It's look at what is useful for you and extract what is useless.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And if these medications are useful, if you're like severely depressed, you have those that like altered chemistry in your brain where you're not getting enough of this because of something that happened to you, then fine. But like, if it's not there, you don't need the medication. Yeah. Or you'll need the medication with therapy and slowly wean off the drugs. You know? Like, when you hurt yourself, like in professional wrestling or something, I've been watching a lot of like Dark Side of the Rings. They're put on mad drugs, and they should, because if you're like every night slamming each other, your spine's all messed up, you're going to want some painkillers.
You're using your body.
You're going to want some painkillers.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, when you don't no longer need those painkillers, and it's still hitting something else, and you're going to become getting addicted to them, then you got to start talking.
Yeah.
Still take the pills if you're still feeling those physical symptoms.
Yeah.
But if the physical symptoms are no longer there, you got to be done with the medication, or you got to continue with the therapy, or just mix it with both. You got to figure out a way to adjust your levels. It's very hard to do, but you can't just be like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
I know what I'm talking about when I have the OG over here. So I think this is a 2-in-1 question. How would you reframe, guide, or assist your clients with toxic productivity, but also the overarching idea of like chronic growth? Like, I was watching The Pioneer actually, and he was talking about fitness in terms of people always wanting to grow.
That guy, yeah.
And you're constantly just growing, and that is the mark of fitness, just like being an actor, the mark of a successful actor is getting a movie with Denzel or something. The mark of a successful fitness person is just looking completely shredded. But instead, there should be the goal of being able to express yourself, fluidly and feel good in the moment.
Right.
What would you say for your clients? Just to repeat my question, just so not everything gets lost, and then your own opinion on the overall.
The overall,
yeah.
Okay.
How would you reframe, guide, or assist your clients with toxic productivity, where they're like, I need to clean the crib, I need to go to work, I need to be productive at work, I need to work out, I need to feed my children.
Grind culture.
The grind culture thing. But then the overall, like, this constant need to grow and do big and da-da-da.
Ba-da-dum. I got that. So I feel like I mentioned earlier in this podcast about quantifying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? Quantifying is the saving grace, right? So if for a month, if I have this client that is really excessive in wanting to really grow, I will have to remind that person that we set a goal for this month at this quantity of time at this rate. And also remind them, keep them cognizant of that, right? So if it's the first of the week, boom. Second of the week, boom. Let's not forget, we're going to just do this through the third week and then the fourth week. So quantity never lies. Numbers never lie, right? So now when we think about the more overarching excessive culture, that leads into, I feel, a lot of the times that we're doing the death scrolling, right? We're in it, we're watching, we're comparing. And so that means that within sessions, we need to talk about that comparative mind, right? We need to talk about, well, what are your drivers? What motivates you? Is it because you see success? If success is what it is, so let's break it down in intervals, right? If that is what drives you. What is your driver? If you like to see all these people doing what they're doing in an excessive amounts, let's try to do it within a year, right? And so that's one client. The other client that is talking about, oh my God, I need to get this now. I need to do this, that. All right, we're just going to curtail it a little bit. We're going to bring it down. Results may not be what it is because you may get those results, but you don't have the skill set to have the longevity to provide the sustainability for it.
Right.
Right? And it is also it's difficult because you don't know the actual client. You don't know what it is for them. So I would have to really kind of like dig deep to see what their motivating force is. And if I know that it's based on success and based on others, then all right, we got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Something that my girlfriend, who among many things is a personal trainer, was talking to me about is like the idea of lifestyle change, right? She said, I could put you through a high intensity program for like a year and we see how shredded you get and how, explosive you get and whatever. But at the, like what your peak is, but at that point that you peak, like the whole point of a peak is that you don't stay there. And then after that, like you wouldn't be able to keep whatever you think that is for yourself. So maybe the better thing would be instituting these small lifestyle changes so that it's not about trying to get to just one place right there, but you're gradually building up, and then you find that you're like operating at a level, even if it's a plateau, but it's like a healthy plateau. There's an equilibrium there, rather than just being up here and then not being able to hold on to it, and then ultimately maybe being disappointed because of the valley that's naturally going to come after the peak. Not that valleys are bad, not that peaks are always great, right? But you have to know that that's coming. So if you're just expecting to get here and stay there, and you haven't built anything under it, and this is physical or it's mental.
Because the Bible talks about the valley of the dry bones, right? And the Bible also talks about there is also a luxurious element to valleys. Like our valleys can be beautiful as well, right? So it's like if you're exerting a lot of this energy and you're not balancing it out, it's going to fall. It's not gonna. So what your girlfriend is talking about is valid. Like those small intricate changes are going to be more sustainable as opposed to something that is extreme. And so I reject the excessive type of culture that we have now. Because it's not sustainable. And that's the shit that's waste. Fucking us up. Sorry, lack of words. I was giving you big words, but right now it's like that shit is whack. Okay, period. Period.
Yo, Justin, which one of the top two is better? Because I'm stuck.
Okay.
Did you just threw your phone like that?
The first one is kind of similar to something I was going to ask you.
Okay, so hit that one then.
All right.
Gym culture is toxic as hell.
Right? It's not toxic.
You said gym culture?
Yes.
I saw this funny video. I think I might have sent it to you. Bradley Cooper, for some reason, Dr. Phil was on a Bradley Cooper's podcast. You know Bradley Cooper. He's like one of those big muscle-necked white guys who thinks he can beat UFC fighters. Anyway.
I thought that was the actor, Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Martin?
Bradley Martin is who I'm thinking of.
Thank you. Sorry, Bradley Cooper. With the pill, that took the pill, that same Limitless.
Yes.
Right, that's
sorry,
excessive
sorry,
culture
Bradley
right there.
Cooper. I meant Bradley Martin.
I got your back, Bradley. Holla.
Like almost 300 pound meathead.
And I don't know who he is. Clearly, I'm like,
you don't need to.
He was talking about, like, Dr. Phil was on the show, whatever show he has with like two other friends of his, and they were talking about like, being able to bench 225, because that's like a real benchmark for gym bros is the word. Is the word that Bradley Martin says. Like, 2 plates. And so they asked Dr. Phil, like, oh yeah, did you ever work out? And he says, I was able to do that when I was in college. And they said, oh, were you a gym bro? He says, I was a linebacker. Like, there was purpose to what I was doing. I was just in the gym to do it.
I didn't need to do it off strength because I
was a linebacker giving people concussions and brain damage.
I can see that. CTE.
Is he though? I'm sorry.
Are you really?
But Jude's question that I'll be asking for you is what's an aspect of the mental health field that you think you can maybe do one and one? An aspect that is neglected or underemphasized, and one that is overrated or overemphasized.
Okay.
If there even is, if you can say that there's such a thing.
All right, so where my mind goes, overrated is, I feel like, self-care. Oh my God. Hello.
Give me those. I've been saying this.
Self-care. Pour into yourself. You need to make sure that you're taking care of you. Lean into this. Lean.
Oatmeal bath.
Come on, let me get the oatmeal bath. Sound bowl. Dun, dun.
You need a sound bath. Fuck you.
But that...
So,
tell me why you mad.
No, because he's...
It's the truth, though.
It's this whole self-care thing. It's It's just a
Give.
way for motherfuckers to make money.
Money, coins. Okay.
They're selling you the idea that you need to have a whole like routine for self-care to make sure that you are operating in a functional way or operating optimally, to use gym bro language. So you need the face cream, you need the bath bomb,
you need the chakra,
you need the chakra
Face
shit,
mask,
you need a Reiki thing, no
Reiki.
disrespect. You need all this. You need
By the
all
way,
this.
I'm a Reiki
You need to go to
practitioner.
Pilates.
I'm a
No.
Reiki practitioner, by the way.
I'm
Sidebar.
so sorry.
No, listen.
I read up it.
So going into that, right? And we gonna woo-saw into it. I think really
My
what
bad.
the premise is, I feel that ultimately is that we should be given to ourselves.
Yes.
We should be leaning in, right? We should be taking a class that you challenge yourself. Maybe 6 months out of the year, you challenge yourself with a new task. You know, it could be as large as half marathons. I'm not fucking doing that, but I'm just saying in general. But you know what I'm saying, right?
Shout out to
Or
people
just-
that did it today.
the props to y'all. Y'all look good. But what I'm saying is that should be something that we are entitled to, right? And so the latter of the question is, I feel like the thing that gets overlooked or should be more highlighted is Black men in therapy. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That is Black, Latino, Asian, Indian, BIPOC space. I need more of my men in therapy. Initially, when I started my private practice, I had more Black men in my private practice.
Wow.
And it was not according to anything that was physical basis. Where my I'm on Psychology Today, ZocDoc, the things that I was saying was resonating, right? And then when we have a consultation, it gets spoken with. There's respect, right? There is the space of hello, I want to help you, Black man. I want you to be the best that you can be. And possibly there are not, and also my women, I love my women too. My women, but I feel like we are more on the precipice of understanding that it's valuable therapy as opposed to our males, right? So it takes a lot. Imagine the things in our history would push us back to say that we don't deserve it. But y'all need to be seen. Y'all need to be heard, and y'all need to be able to express yourself in the ways that you want to, and not according to what their girl said, or that their job, their boss said, or what their mom or
What the
dad
streets
say. It's what did you say?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not only expressing it through anger.
yeah.
Yeah, that part. Not denial, but silenced.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would say not just anger, but violence.
That's what I mean.
That part.
Because to be angry is not wrong, but what comes out of it sometimes is
The expression of anger.
yeah,
the way
often
we
from
normally
men.
express
And
anger.
how do we really work with, all right, you angry, right? If I'm with someone that's angry, we're standing up, we're talking,
Right.
and I do a lot of this even face-to-face and nonverbal, not non-verbally, but online, right? So we're moving, and then what's the first word that comes to mind? And we're using that,
Yeah.
right? And where are we putting that? Where are we doing that? All right, I'm fucking pissed. You fucking pissed? Hold that. Is it heavy? What does the weight look like?
Yeah.
Oh, it's whatever it is. All right, so we're throwing it down. We're throwing it. We're stepping on it. We're getting rid of that, right? What else? What's up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that same energy. Oh, you know what? I'm not being seen. I was like, okay. And then we take that. What happens when you're not seen? Oh, it makes me upset. All right, boom. So then I have this information, and then if we're not moving at that time, we're talking about elements where maybe they're saying, oh, I was in a situation and this happened. I was like, oh, so you wasn't being seen. Yeah. You was angry about that, right? So it's not me putting it on them, because I know what they share with me in that opening, right?
Yeah.
And then we're able to work with it from there.
I wasn't asked the question, but I think the thing with self-care as a generalized term to be cautious of is that it just too too often can loop back around to actually doing things that are harmful to yourself by just leaning into your vices for the sake of saying, well, I like this thing and it feels good, therefore it is self-care, even if it's not actually caring for yourself.
Good point.
But that is another conversation. By way of closing, I would ask, not to give up too much of the game for free, we know you're a working woman, but if someone were listening to this and they wanted to maybe start their own kind of movement practice, what sort of, to use this phrase again, primer or kind of like, quick little paper airplane could you give to them for like a daily kind of thing that they could do?
Oh, just our movement practice, because I was like, you got to go fucking grad school. No, no, not that part. All right, so just meaning like just a normal person.
Yeah,
that's
for
taking
themselves who wants to.
Yeah, so I'm thinking more so like routine is really powerful. So setting an intention, nice journaling would be good. Like, hey, this is what I would like to add into my life, right? And just like write it down. And write down the 3 goals. I love numbers. God, again, I love numbers. I love numbers, right? So these are the 3 things that I want to do. I want to be more mindful. I want to be more physically active. And I want to be a little bit more intentional, right? So if those are those 3 things, then you're writing that down, right? And then when you're going out of your life, you're just like thinking about those 3 principles. So within my practice, I work from the self, the interpersonal, and the environment. So this will probably be the biggest gem that I could just like express. And those are the things that I work from. So a lot of the times we have discrepancies. It's either the self, it's either the interpersonal, or it's the environment.
Right.
So they're like, I can't fucking stand my job. What is the job? Environment, right? Oh, I just can't deal with Susie. Susie is too much. Susie is interpersonal, right? And then, I'm not motivated. I can't do. So that's the self. So if I was saying you're not motivated, find your driver. Find the things that you need and that will get your ass up in the morning. If you're having a difficult relationship with Susie, talk it out or just decide you want to end that relationship. Boom. And then if it's your job, okay, let's make a whole 6 months to a year transition or a plan for your environment. Yeah. Maybe you need to be in a different environment. Yeah. Or maybe you need to cultivate whatever you have, create a project, incite something different. You know what I'm saying? So it's like those are the 3 spaces where I formulate my diagnoses from there. Self, interpersonal, and environment.
You're fucking awesome, Dominique.
Yeah. It was really cool.
Thank you, Ahmad.
Really cool.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
I love this one.
Yeah, this is good. This is good. We had a first. We were you did an informal session with us. That's never happened on air. Like when she like pulled us into. She was like, "Hey, put your head. Hey, put your head down." You little.
I didn't care. I should have asked you for consent, but I didn't fucking care. I should have asked for consent, but I didn't. I was like, I gotta prove my point.
She's gonna go right in your ear. She was put your motherfucking.
It was very much appreciated.
Word.
Dominique, where can people find you and follow you if they want to track your journey? Are you active on the grams, on the socials?
Yeah, I'm on the gram, It's probably a long name to find me. Dominique Andriese, Andriese.
We'll make sure to put it in the show notes.
Yeah, that. And then I have my business page, but it's not as spicy as my personal page.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Understood.
My business is DASITF.
Yeah, and
if
people have inquiries about the service, they can go to the business page.
They can go there. Yes, they
Fantastic.
can. And if they do go find me on my personal, of course, I'm not going to turn them away. Right?
You've reached the wrong Dominique, actually.
And my website is the DASITF.com.
And I like doing this with every guest. Dominique, what is your favorite song to listen to right now?
I was just listening to Do you want to be a distraction, baby?
Kehlani.
Man.
I literally, because someone posted that, I was like, her birthday came up this
Sure did.
I guess, and then I was like, oh my God, and then it's the way you walk, it's the way you talk.
Oh, that's my jam. That's my jam. With Chance the Rapper.
The way
She was a good 2 years she had on lock.
she did.
From
Sure did.
that mixtape to Sweet Sexy Savage was like her.
2017,
Yeah,
18
that
vibes.
era, yeah.
That part.
Right.
Then YG had to ruin everything.
Everything changed when YG attacked.
Word, bro. Then she started going on side quests and dating women that look just like her.
Oh God! How narcissistic is that?
No, for real.
Did I say that?
Kehlani, come on the show.
Come on,
Thank
girl.
you all very
Those are
much
side quests.
for listening. If you like what you heard, you can find more Uptown Love on Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and the Podbean app, as well as Apple Podcasts. Rate and review the show wherever you get it. It greatly helps us out. Thanks again to Dominique for joining us. Round of applause, round of applause.
Yes,
Creative
yes,
condoms,
yes.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, indeed.
And wear some deodorant, you stinky ass.
It's getting hotter. You do need to wear deodorant, aluminum free or not. Put something on your underarms.
Baking
Thank you.
soda.
I know that's right.